Life story of Lord Shirdi Sai. People knew only the latter part of Sri Sri Sai Baba's life, that is, subsequent to his arrival in Shirdi. No details were available regarding his earlier life. When was he born and where? Who were his parents? What was his life like prior to his appearance in Shirdi? These remained unknown until Sri Sathya Sai Baba revealed them in Prashanti Nilayam on 28th September 1990, the date and month coinciding with the birthday of Shirdi Sai Baba as declared by Baba. Obviously, little known secrets of an incarnation can be brought to light by none else but another incarnation. The life story of Shirdi Sai, as disclosed by Sri Sathya Sai Baba, is given here. In the village of Patri, situated in the then Nizam's dominions, lived a devout couple named Ganga Bhava and Devagiri Amma. The lady was an ardent devotee of goddess Gauri, consort of Lord Shiva, also known as Parvati. Her husband was a devotee of Lord Shiva. They had no children. This made them all the more detached from worldly concerns. They spent all their time in worship of Lord Shiva and Devi Parvati. Ganga Bhava plied a river boat for a living. It was the rainy season and the river was in flood. Fearing that his boat might be swept away if unattended, Ganga Bhava told his wife that he would go to the banks of the river and stay there overnight with his boat and take care of it. She gave him his evening meal at 7 p.m. and finished her own meal soon after he left. At about 9 p.m., there was a knock on the front door. Thinking that it was her husband and wondering what made him come back so soon, she anxiously opened the door. An old man was standing outside. He promptly stepped in and said, "Oh lady, it is very cold outside. Will you kindly give me a little space inside for spending the night here?" Hospitable by nature, she produced a mattress, gave it to him, and showed him a place on the veranda to sleep in. She retired to her own room, closed its door, and went to bed. But not long after, the old man knocked on the door again. When she opened it, he said, "Oh kind lady, I am feeling hungry. May I have a little rice to eat?" Finding nothing worthwhile in her kitchen except some milled grain, she prepared a little meal with curds and gave it to him. She went back to her room, closed the door, and prepared to sleep. After a little while, the old man once again knocked on the door. When she opened it, he said, "Dear lady, my feet are aching. Will you kindly massage them a little?" She was startled. She went into her puja room, fell at the feet of goddess Parvati in tears and cried, "Oh divine mother, what is this terrible test you are putting me to? What should I do now? Kindly save me from this humiliating situation." In a few moments, she regained her composure. An idea flashed in her mind. Leaving by the rear door of the house, she went in search of somebody who could be of service to her guest on payment. Her efforts bore no fruit, and she returned home in despair. Suddenly there was a knock on the rear door. When it was opened, a woman stepped in and said, "Madam, It seems you came to my house asking for help to attend on an old man here. I have come to offer my services." Devagiri Amma rejoiced that her earnest prayers had been answered. She took the woman onto the veranda, left her with the old man, and went back to her own room, closing its door behind her. That old man, who asked for such strange service from a saintly lady, and the woman who came forward to serve him, were no ordinary humans. They were Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati. They began talking with each other. Lord Shiva said, "Devi Parvati, grant this devout lady whatever she earnestly desires." Goddess Parvati replied, "You are the Supreme Lord. You do it yourself." Lord Shiva answered, "I have come here to test her devotion, but you have come here in response to her earnest prayers. It would be appropriate if you granted boons to her." Once again, there was a knock on the bedroom door. Now that there was another woman in the house, Devagiri Amma opened the door without any hesitation. She found Lord Shiva and her beloved Devi Gauri standing in front of her in resplendent glory. Her heart was full with happiness and joy. Unable to bear the flood of emotion, she fell at their divine feet. Goddess Gauri spoke, "I am blessing you with a boy who will bring glory to your Vamsam, and also a girl, so that you may derive punyam by giving her away in marriage, Kanyadan, to someone." Devagiri Amma touched Lord Shiva's feet. He said, "My dear child, I am pleased with your devotion. I myself will take birth in human form as your third child." The ecstatic lady, so amply blessed, with eyes brimming, did deep obeisance to Lord Shiva and Goddess Gauri. When she lifted her head, they had disappeared. She was now in raptures. She was now eager and impatient. When will the day dawn? When will her husband return home? How soon could she share her heavenly experience with him? She could sleep no more. At daybreak, her husband came home and heard from his wife all that had happened. But he was in no mood to believe. He said, "Dear Devagiri, you seem to have lost your senses. You must be dreaming. Lord Shiva and Devi Parvati visiting our house in person? Giving you a darshan? What nonsense!" He took to ridicule. She tried to convince him, but he refused to be convinced. Time sped by fast, and Devagiri Amma became pregnant. As she anticipated, a male baby took birth. A year later, a baby girl was born. Ganga Baba found that two of the events which his wife had mentioned had now come true. He was now willing to believe that Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati had indeed given darshan to his wife. He told his wife, "You were most fortunate. I was not." The thought got firmly rooted in his mind and grew with time. He was determined to secure darshan of Lord Shiva and Devi Parvati. Eventually, his wife was pregnant again for the third time. This final piece of proof strengthened his mind decisively. Maya, illusion, gave way to enlightenment. Now he became restless. When should I get away from this house? When should I commence tapas, spiritual pursuit? How soon would I be able to obtain darshan of Lord Shiva and Devi Gauri? These thoughts were gnawing at his heart. He undertook vows of austerity. Meanwhile, 9 months passed. He became more and more impatient. He could wait no longer. He decided that he would immediately retire to the forest to continue his spiritual pursuit vigorously. Devagiri Amma was not a person to draw back. She too accompanied him despite her delicate condition. On the way, she delivered a male baby right there on the way in the forest beneath a banyan tree. That was 28th September 1838. Devagiri Amma swaddled the newborn infant comfortably in a piece of her saree, covered him with soft leaves, and left him where he was born, and followed her husband. That is how nobody knew anything about the parents of that baby until Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba revealed it all over a century later. There was a Sufi fakir in the neighboring village. He had no sons. He found this abandoned baby and took him home. From 1838 to 1842, the child grew up in that fakir's house. After the fakir passed away, his wife looked after the boy. His behavior was quite abnormal. He would go to Hindu temples and shout, "I am Allah, I am God, and Allah Malik hai, God is the master." Hindus used to trouble him. He would go into masjids and cry, "Rama alone is God, and Shiva is Allah." Because of his odd and unconventional behavior, people of both faiths used to complain to the late fakir's wife. She found it difficult to set him right. She knew a person, Venkusa by name, who was a scholar and a devout person reputed to be an exalted soul. She took the unruly boy to Venkusa and left him in the great man's care. From 1842 to 1851, for 9 long years, he was looked after by Venkusa, who treated him with great affection and love. That aroused jealousy and malice in the hearts of the other residents in Venkusa's ashram. One day, the boy left that place and reached Shirdi, where he stayed for a couple of months. Thereafter, he left Shirdi too and wandered from place to place for several years. In the course of his travels, he arrived at a village named Dhupkheda. During his stay there, it so happened that a marriage was fixed in the household of a resident of the village named Chand Bhai Patel, whose wife's younger brother was the bridegroom. Accompanying the bridegroom's party, the peripatetic boy went to Shirdi. It was the year 1857 and he remained there for good till his passing away in 1918. He became known as Sai Baba. His extraordinary spiritual powers were soon noticed and people began flocking to him. He received them with kindness and compassion, patiently hearing their problems and sufferings with sympathy and love, and gave appropriate directions to enable them to overcome their difficulties. He would give them mental strength and confidence and spiritual guidance. Gradually, his fame spread far and wide. The above account was given by Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. He also described the close relationship between Shirdi Sai Baba and his devotees such as Hari Vinayak Sathe, Kelkar, Shama and others. Sri Sathya Sai Baba said, towards the end of Shirdi Sai's earthly life, he told Abdullah, who was close to him, not to grieve at his passing away because he was going to be reborn and give him darshan again. When Abdullah inquired how soon that would be, Baba replied that it would be just 8 years later. The first incarnation took place in Maharashtra and the second one would be in Madras Presidency. Madras Presidency at that time included Puttaparthi, which is in the present state of Andhra Pradesh. Abdullah further asked Baba in what form he would appear in the coming incarnation. Baba replied that he would bear the name of Satyam. Evidently, what he was referring to is this present incarnation of Sri Sathya Sai. The two bodies are no doubt different, but their divinity is one and the same, said Swami. Bhagavan concluded the absorbing story of his previous incarnation by explaining the purpose of the first incarnation of Shirdi Sai was to give intimations of divinity. The second, the present one, of Sathya Sai is for gifting of divinity. And the third, the coming one of Prema Sai, will be for teaching divinity.